If you're in a clutch, you need to experience the serpent's touch.
Hey, welcome to Servant Fit, where we train the body that carries the calling. I am Dr. Maurice Buford. I go by Mo Buford. And today, I'm taking a simple walk around my neighborhood to talk about two things that are very dear to me. Servant leadership and fitness. Listen, what servant leadership is really an interesting construct. We want to kind of talk about what is it really? And in addition to that, how does physical fitness complement servant leadership? Now, by calling, I'm a pastor. I have a shepherd's heart. I'll give you literally the shirt off my back. 1991, when I started chasing this wonderful call, I noticed a pattern that I just couldn't figure out. Why a lot of people, particularly, and I say this in love, across industry, for that matter, were high performance spiritually and ethically for the most part, but when it came down to taking care of the temple or the body, we kind of fell short. And so way back 1991, this thought has always intrigued me. The intersection between being a servant and fitness. So to this end, I want to call this first episode that we're going to call Servant Fit, Servant Steps. Why 10,000 is a good thing. Why 10,000 is a good thing. Now, first thing we need to discuss, one philosopher once said it this way: before you start any conversation, we must adequately define the terms. So, the question on the table becomes, what is servant leadership all about? In fact, in the chat, let me hear your definition. What is servant leadership? And if you're not clear, put in the chat, put in the comments what you're confident servant leadership is not. I look forward to reading those chats. All right. So, my friend, servant leadership is not about a position. Nope. It's about a posture. It's choosing, listen, to serve first, to place growth, well-being, and the success of others ahead of our own ego and spotlight. Catch that. That's the essence, that's the spirit of servant leadership. But listen, here's the truth most people miss. You can't sustain servant leadership, authentic servant leadership, if I may add that word, without stigma, without the ability to endure, without staying power. Listen, if your leadership demands more than your body can deliver, something will eventually break. All right? I'm thinking about a mentor, God rest his soul, right now, who literally inspired me. He saw something in me when I was in 8th grade. And I'm not proud of this, but I was in what they call SLD classes, slow learning development. Now, it was a mismatch. I should have never been in there, probably in the wrong environment, all the above. This gentleman really inspired me, and he's spoken to me, almost like what I'm trying to do now with you. And he really pushed me to raise the bar from D's and F's, and eventually, by the grace of God, begin to excel academically. But the thing was, he was an intellectual giant, and I believe he went home too early because he didn't take care of his temple. So I want to talk to that person, I won't call his name, who's listening on this line right now. Maybe you're pouring into people. Maybe your heart is in the right place. But your temple, your body, is not cooperating as much as possible. And I want to just make a disclaimer. I'm not a personal trainer. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm just a man who has a passion about servant leadership and a believer that servant leadership and fitness. All right, my brother, how you doing? They go hand in hand. So, why physical fitness is a leadership issue? That's the question. Why physical fitness is a leadership issue, right? They literally go hand in hand. They're not divorced. They don't not belong to one another. They are in unison, my friend. It's a beautiful day out here. It's good to be alive, good to have this breath. And by the way, I'm taking my walk on Christmas Day. Just had a phenomenal dinner and trying to practice what I preach and get in my steps. Listen, physical fitness isn't about vanity. It really isn't. Now, it may be a byproduct that physical fitness makes you stronger. You may look a certain way, but it's not really about vanity. It's all about capacity. That's right, capacity. When leaders neglect their bodies, decision-making suffers. Our patience shortens. And listen, my friend, I'll tell you this, being transparent, our resiliency begins to erode. A simple thing like walking. That's it, walking. If we are physically able, it builds clarity. It reduces stress, and it restores the margin. Some of my best thinking comes while I'm walking. So I say again, fitness is not self-centered. It's really mission-centered, right? Yes, we're getting ready to go into a new year. And perhaps that's one of the challenges, or one of the goals, resolutions, if you would, prayers to make this a mission. Now, why 10,000 steps matter? I want to pick it up a little bit. This place. 10,000 steps. How you doing? Isn't magic, but it is symbolic. It is a symbolic thing. It represents daily movement, consistency. And here's the word: discipline. Yeah, discipline. Steps reminds us that leadership growth doesn't happen in leaps. No, it happens in repetitions, reps and sets, reps and sets. I played defensive back in college, and they drilled that, at least drilled it in my head, that game day is not the time to try to pull it together. It's way before game day. They will say, Mo, however you practice is how you will play. However you practice is how you're going to play. Now listen, great leaders don't wait for motivation. See, that's what separates the good from the great. They don't wait for the feeling, if you would, all due respect, of motivation. Nope. They lean in. Discipline. I heard somebody say it this way: there's 2 times when you ought to activate discipline. Number 1, when you feel like it. And number 2, when you don't. Those type of leaders, they build habits. They carry them when the motivation fades. Because trust me, there are days I don't want to get it in. There are days where that bed feels fantastic, but I get it in. We ought to get it in. Embrace discipline. Listen, a servant leader who models this well, because I want to put some people on the stand, if you would, using lawyer speak, and have a historical and modern day example. The first person that comes to my mind is Mr. Tim Duncan. Yep, Tim Duncan. Known as the big fundamental. Duncan, the dude wasn't flashy. But here's the thing you gotta say when you talk about Duncan. He was faithful. His discipline, conditioning, and consistency allowed him to do some things well. Those variables allowed him to lead quietly. It allowed him to serve his teammates. And let me foot stomp that. See, here's the key. If you're listening to this, you're writing this down, here's the key. Servants can't give what we don't have. We can't give what we don't have. My grandmother, God rest her soul, as a little boy, I would love to go and sit with her and really glean from her wisdom. And every time I would go sit with her, she didn't have a lot of money, but she had a lot of love. She didn't have a big education, but she had a PhD in life. And she would sit down and get an old coffee mug and a saucer underneath it. And she would boil some hot water. Another few minutes, you would hear the steam coming from it. And she would come back down and with a big smile, she would pour that tea into that cup. And right on cue, that cup would overflow. And the saucer would catch the overflow. She would take the cup, I still see it vividly right now, put it to the side. She would take the saucer and begin to drink the overflow of the tea from the saucer. Now, she would laugh, and we have a big laugh about it, but that image has never escaped me. So it is with servant leaders. See, we give from our overflow. The stuff in the cup, if you would, is for us. It's mind, body, and spirit. How are we taking care of our mind? What are we reading? What are we listening to? How are we feeding and nurturing it? In the sentiments of Stephen Covey, how are we sharpening our saw? Right? And that intangible is important, but also the body. So we cannot give what we don't have. So it is with Mr. Tim Duncan. Because he had it in him, he was able to pour it out in others. So he served his teammates. It sustained excellence. Listen to this. For nearly 2 decades, his reps and sets, his ability to lean in, sustained an entire organization for almost 2 decades. His physical discipline supported his emotional steadiness and his servant posture. Here's another point. There's something deeper to the meaning of servant steps, if you would. Slow down on this one. Every step is a reminder. Leadership is a long obedience. in the same direction. Yeah. Leadership is a long obedience in the same direction. Think about that for a second. When you walk, you're training more than your body. Let me tell you what else you're training. You're training patience. We're training our presence. Let me give you a question that I invite you again to put in the comments. Write in the comments. No, really. Here's the question. Where has your leadership outpaced your physical stewardship? Once again, give me your honest thoughts, your honest feedback. Where has your leadership outpaced your physical stewardship? All right? I've been taught that leadership embraces this saying, you go first. So I'll share. Here's one of mine. After 27 years of service, serving in the context of the United States Navy, I had the honor and the privilege of mentoring, serving the treasures of this nation. How you doing? But I do remember a time in my military career of being absolutely burnt out. Now, for those of you who don't know what burnout is and what it feels like, let me give you, come into my world. Here's a definition, not the, of burnout. Burnout is the exhaustion of the soul. The exhaustion of our soul. Here's some of the symptoms. It's going to sleep, but waking up exhausted. Here's another symptom. It's when our decisions become off. Right? At least it was for me. My decision making wasn't on its A game. And another symptom is being irritable over little things. There was a time where I hit the wall, the runner's wall, if you would, and became burnout. And here's what I've learned. I want to speak to you, my friend. That burnout is undefeated. It is undefeated. It had not been beat yet. Okay? So, there you have it. I was over pouring that which was in my cup into others, but not taking the time to restore. Let me hear from you. Put it in the comments. Let's have a conversation. So, this week, don't overthink it. I want to challenge you to take some steps. Walk your way toward clarity. Because strong leaders don't just think well, listen, they move well. I like that. This is servant fit, my friend. Training the body that carries the calling. I am Mo Buford, and it's time to experience the servant's touch. See you next time.